While it's important to look confident in an interview, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, so proceed with caution on this. Remember that interviews aren't just about the company finding out more about you, they're also about you finding out more about the company and understanding whether or not you want to work there. With this in mind, my main piece of advice is that you should be yourself. If you pretend to be someone that you're not, you might get the job, but end up absolutely hating it. Be open about the fact you don't know everything, but you're willing to learn. And be open about your development areas too. If you come across as authentic and genuine, interviewers will warm to you so much more. And by default, you'll come across as confident because it takes courage to admit these things.
In order to communicate with bold confidence in an interview, the most important thing to do is to remain calm. Remember that you are qualified and brilliant enough to have been invited to an interview in the first place, and so your interviewers truly want you to do well. Plus, all the other applicants are in the same boat, so there's simply no reason to be afraid. There will be no trick questions, but that being said, ensure you prepare for the interview as though you would an exam, and that should help to put the fears at bay, as you will be able to face anything that comes and faces you. If in doubt, fake it till you make it, but always remember to be yourself.
You've got to know your subject areas. So personally, the confidence in an interview comes from that, actually knowing what you're talking about. But even now, after doing many interviews, you still get a bit anxious when you're preparing for an interview. I think you've got to say if you don't know, it will get spotted. People will know. They can read if you know what you're talking about or not. And I think communicate yourself. I think it's really important that if you're sort of bold confidence, what does that mean? It's not just about speaking, but words are only one part of communication. It's your body language. So I think people will be looking at your attitudes. So come across as confident, but also just be yourself. I think it's a bit cliched, but it's really important in an interview.
Being interviewed is scary. You will be incredibly lucky to attend an interview totally unprepared and sail through it using your dynamic personality alone. You need to be on top of your game to shine and not hide your light under a bushel. You need to persuade the interviewers that they need you and only you. Interviews aren't just about learning a script. Communicating confidently comes through preparation. Interviewers can tell if an applicant isn't prepared well. There are a lot of help available online, so there's no excuse for being unprepared. The employer is assessing your strengths and weaknesses and your transferable skills. These skills aren't always gathered in jobs, however, so if they're looking for leadership skills, you might be able to show this through campaigning you've done, through extracurricular things, such as young enterprise or leading a team in sport. In preparing for an interview though, start as soon as possible. Work through your experience and write down examples where you have demonstrated particular skills. In some cases, you might be able to give some evidence of your skills. For example, if you want to show teamwork and capabilities, you might have times when you've been a role model to people or that you've been a supportive teammate. This type of preparation though is quite difficult. We don't often look at ourselves from this perspective, but as you work through it, you're building up an authentic version of yourself and your experience will shine through, and this should give you confidence. Before you go into the interview, research your employer or your interviewer and you can guide that into your answers. Practice in front of a mirror, include a dress rehearsal. This is so crucial to giving a fluid and confident answer in interviews. 5 minutes before going in, do what actors do. Exercise your jaw muscles, take some very deep breaths to get that oxygen flowing, and even do power poses. But at the interview, make eye contact, smile, speak clearly, don't waffle, and you've absolutely got it.
Get there early, both physically in terms of being on time for the interview, but also in terms of the amount of preparation you do so that you're ready and you feel comfortable and confident in yourself even before the interview starts. Secondly, be yourself. You need to make sure that you represent who you are. You're going to be the person working there, and you want the people who you're going to be working with to know who you are and that you know that you can get along based on the interview. If you don't get along, that's probably a good sign that they may not be the right fit in terms of a place for you to work. Also, tell stories about what you've done. You need to show that your experience and your enthusiasm can shine through what you're talking about rather than just trying to recite something like it's written on a piece of paper. And that way you're going to really bring yourself to life and bring your story to life.
To communicate with confidence in an interview, you have to remember, first of all, why you're in the interview. You're interviewing for a job, and the nature of a job is to exchange your time and expertise for money. So if you think of yourself as a business in this scenario, you're also seeing if the employer is going to work for you. So I think when you take away a little bit of the power from the interviewer and realise that you're also there to see if this is the right fit for you, you're going to be spending most of your time in this place. That takes a little bit bit of pressure off and enables you to communicate with confidence. Another thing is to remember why you're there. Each job that's posted these days is posted online and thousands of people get access to it. So you've made it to the interview stage. They're obviously interested in you, and behind the scenes they put a lot of effort, or they should be putting a lot of effort into interviewing you. So you have to bear in mind you are at that stage. There is an interest. So sometimes to talk with confidence, talk like you're already in the position. Say we and what we can do. Another thing is, if you're in a position to be able to do this, create an action plan for what you will do in the first 6 months of your job, because if you take that into an interview and you can confidently walk them through it, then they'll know that you're good for the job, you know what you're doing, you've got goals and ambitions to get started straight away.